third episode of Pixel Power Hour. And my name is Shivangi. I'm from Team FilterPixel, and I'm here with another guest. So, our topic today is about making your clients feeling like a rock star because, as a photographer, that's what we're doing. We're selling experiences, and as much better as we can create it, good for us, right? So, our special guest for today is Jim Landers. He has been in the industry for the last 30 years. He has successfully worked with 4,000 photographers until now. And all his initiatives are actually pointed towards helping photographers and growing their businesses. He also actually does a show every Monday on his group called Portrait Profits. I'm going to drop the link down here. And he's also the founder of Flanders Photography School. Now I'm just going to invite him in so he can introduce himself and let you and take him through the journey. Hello, hi
Hi,
Jim.
guys. Hi, Shivangi.
Hello, hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you today.
Same. So thrilled to actually have you here. Jim is actually so busy with his school's show as an educator. And I also forgot to mention he also does lunch with landers, right? Every week he takes out a photographer and spends some time with them, helping them through their business, through the whole journey. So that's something that he also does. So Jim, you can go ahead and introduce yourself while people are joining in.
Sure, absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about photography, especially the business side, which is my favorite. Go figure, because when I started, I really didn't have an interest in the business side because I was trained, I was classically trained on the photography side, and they didn't even talk about the business side while I was in my 4-year university. It never came up. So I've got a good degree in photography, just not good on the business side. And out of the 33 students that I went to school with, 32 were already out of the business within 5 years. And so at least that's to my knowledge. I haven't actually been able to speak to every single student, but nearly everyone, and each one of them knows the others. So I'm pretty sure that's the case. And I think the reason is because they didn't teach the business side. And so they prepared us for the photography side, but the business side is so important. Being able to work with clients, being able to do the back end things that we all need to do. And as creatives, that might not be the thing that we enjoy the most, but
Exactly.
somehow I've come to really enjoy the business side. And I love sharing to those who are starting out where I was not doing the business side very well, helping them to do that business side very well and excel very quickly and make a great income that they can live off of.
Definitely, that makes so much sense actually, Jim, because photography is a lot of people's passion and so fancy that people just love to take pictures, so they go ahead and do it. But there's so many nooks and corners that need to be perfected when you're actually getting into the business. Like once people start getting in, they know there are 20 roles that they themselves need to fulfill apart from actually following their passion, which is photography. So that's rightly said. And today we'll be talking about what Jim is actually an expert of. He has been working with portrait photographers specifically. And our topic for actually today is this itself, making your clients feel like a rock star, making the experience better for them, elevating them in whatever way possible. And we'll be talking about how we can do it before the photo session as well, and during the photo session, and even after it. So we can get started. And everybody who is tuning in, just drop in, say hi, let us know where you're tuning in from. And I have a bunch of questions that I'll actually ask Jim, but if you have any, don't hesitate, please go ahead and ask them too.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
perfect. So should I go ahead and ask my first question, Jim?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Perfect. Okay. So our topic today, making your clients feel like a rock star, all of this sounds very good, sounds very fancy. But why do you feel it's a good idea, and why do you feel it's actually a necessity to make your clients feel good in in this whole scenario? Yeah.
Well, that's a good question because it stems from the fact that we all crave appreciation and admiration. So if you create systems and steps that make your clients feel appreciated and admired, you're making yourself irresistible to your clients. So just imagine your clients walking away from every interaction with you or your business feeling like they just had the VIP experience. What if they felt like they were treated like a rock star? I mean, making your clients feel like a rock star is not just a feel good strategy. It's a proven way to build loyalty and retention. It makes you shareable with their friends. It comes with a fantastic side effect, and that's a boost to your income. So delivering exceptional service and personalized attention is not just a luxury. To me, it's what a low volume portrait photographer, the segment of photographers that I work with, should
Mhm.
consider a necessity for making their clients feel appreciated.
Right. So as we say, it's actually the bare minimum. What you would say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. It's we want to give them something that makes them feel good about who they are, about themselves, about I like giving opportunities for them to feel special enough where they're posting it on their social media when they're talking with their friends over coffee that they happen to mention that experience with me. And so I plan what I'm doing to make sure that happens. Kind of like when you mentioned a little while ago, lunch with Landers. I take a photographer to lunch with me every week on Tuesdays, and this, the fact that I do that, I've never come across anyone else who's done that before. And I'm not doing it just because I find it unique and no one else is doing it. I do it because I actually thoroughly enjoy working, talking with photographers, especially about the business side. And so I enjoy doing that. And so anything that you can do that causes you to stand out. Now, that's one that does kind of get expensive, and there's a lot of things that can cost money, but there's a lot of things you can do to wow your clients, to make them impressed, to make them want to share, that you can do that just don't cost that much money, or doesn't even cost anything, just posts.
Definitely, definitely. And the outcome is something that helps us boost our sales because it can definitely lead to a lot more word of mouth referrals as well, right? And what else have
Exactly.
you seen maybe a boost in other side of your business? Is there anything else? Definitely, if your experience is standing out, if you as a photographer is standing out by providing them a photo session, it would definitely lead to more referrals. But is there anything else that it helps during that side?
On what side?
In the business side.
So, well, I mean, it's definitely, to me, everything is related to the business side. It's interesting. A lot of creatives don't feel like sales is a good thing. Being a sales person, sharing their prices makes them uncomfortable. Telling people what it is that they do might not be hard, but asking them to buy from them is hard because we're creatives. We've got something that we built from scratch. We took something that didn't exist, an idea. We took this idea that didn't exist, and we created it and made it into something that does, and we're proud of that. But when it comes to selling it, we're a little uncomfortable. Well,
Definitely.
the base definition or understanding of sales is just helping someone else get what they want, and that is something creatives enjoy doing. So if you look at sales from its real point of view, not from the bad experiences you've had with salespeople, then most people will open up to sales and actually start enjoying it.
That absolutely makes sense. Again, it's the difference between the creative as well as the business side of photography, or in fact, any other business that might come in this domain. Okay, so coming right now we've established that this is something that is a bare minimum and that is a requirement or a need at this point. So, how do you actually start to come up with ideas on how you can make your client feel special?
Okay. So it's probably not where you think. It starts with
Okay.
identifying who your ideal client is. So ideal clients are people who energize you, uh, who want to work with you so much that they'll do what it takes, even if it means they have to save up for months in order to work with you. And I help my clients avoid people who drain their creative energy
Okay.
by identifying the tips, excuse me, the traits and the characteristics, their interests and the values that they find ideal in a client. So your marketing message attracts your ideal clients. I also feel it's important to define how you want to be perceived by your clients,
Mm-hmm.
both as a photographer and as a friend, because I feel like we become friends to some degree, at least, with our clients. So how do you want to be perceived as a photographer? How do you want to be perceived as a friend? This way you can align your decisions and your actions with the perception that you want your ideal client to have of you. And once you know who your ideal client is, it becomes obvious where they are, what they do, how to attract them, what to do, and what to say to them.
Absolutely. So basically, finding what who your target market is and what do they want is actually the first step and also the game changing step, because once you figured that out, everything else gets a bit easier from there, right? Because now you identify the first and the most important step of the journey.
I love it when someone defines it as a journey, like you just did, because that's exactly what this is. It seems like we spend more time planning a road trip, a weekend event. We go from one place to a city a few hours away to explore and have fun, or maybe for a business meeting, so that we have a very specific time that we're meeting someone. But we plan that we know exactly where we're starting from because we're starting where we live, and we're
Yeah.
going to wherever that other place is. Let's say you're in San Antonio, Texas, and you want to travel to El Paso. El Paso it's also in Texas, but it's about 8 hours away. So you've got to plan how long that drive's going to be. Plus, you're probably not going to do it on one tank of gas. Plus, you're not going to do it in a day. You're going to have to at least go there one day and come back the next. It's a long drive. And so you've got to plan these different variables into it. And so we are willing to plan the day trip or plan the overnight trip and put a lot of effort into it. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we have defined what the end result is supposed to be. A lot of us in our business have not defined what the end result is supposed to be. We just drive down every road that looks good. Ooh, that road looks like it goes to someplace pretty. Let's go. We photographers are attracted by things that look good. We could spend our entire life driving down roads that look good and never reach success. In fact, always find struggle, even though we've done all the good things. In my opinion, if you don't define where you're going, what it is you want as an end result, and plan a path to get there, you're going to struggle your entire career. And it's not because you're not doing good things, you're doing a lot of good things, but those good things don't have an end result. It would be like not planning what roads you were going to take from San Antonio to El Paso and just taking good roads that you defined as good. Ooh, that one looks pretty, and hoping you reach there. But that's even one step further than most photographers go because most photographers don't even define their destination, what the end result is supposed to be.
I mean, definitely, if you're working without a goal, you just direction that you know that you don't know where it would lead to, basically. So that was actually a reality check for me as well. So that absolutely makes sense. Okay, moving on to the next question is, let's say when you've actually booked a photography session and it's upcoming in the next week or in the next month. So what do you actually do in that scenario? That what are you planning? What is it that you do at that moment to make your clients feel special?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I do this differently than a lot of other photographers do, and
Okay.
I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing and why I choose to do it that way, uh,
Okay.
because I feel like uh, the goal of so the same thing is planning a road trip. It's same thing with planning my business. Same thing with planning one individual session. Now, I specialize on the photography side. Now, I don't do as much photography anymore as I used to. I started being I went full time in 1991, and I slowed it down quite a bit in 2018, and really nearly I stopped doing all marketing in 2019 on the photography side. I still get jobs. I'm still doing one or two every month. But the I think that every single thing we do needs to have an end result goal so that we can plan a path to get to it. And so, what's the end result of the family portraits that I do? By the way, I specialize in emotional family portraits as home decor. And the reason I say it that way is because I want to end up with something. So the same thing as planning your trip, planning where you're going, you define the destination, and then you plan a path to get there. So the reason why I say as home decor is because I want the people who are only interested in digital files to go find a different photographer. That way I wind up only with those who want prints on their wall. And so it's very easy for me to find those who want prints because of the way I describe myself, because I know what way I want my end result to be. Now, knowing that I get people who are going to be working, I'm going to be working with people who want prints on their wall, family portraits on their wall. I, 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 I believe that you're because you know what the end result is going to be, that you should do the planning in the place where the print is going to go on the wall. Now, most of the time, this is their home. It's there are times when it's a vacation home or a an office, but it's 99% in at their home. And so I don't do a planning session like this or like a Zoom call or a phone call. And I have come across photographers that do no planning whatsoever, other than someone calls and said, "Are you available on Saturday, 9:30? How's that sound? All right, what's the place? All right, good. How many people in your family? All right, got all the details. See you at 9:30." That is not a way to plan because the neighbor could have done that. And if you're not doing more than what the neighbor could have done, are you truly a professional? I mean, that's just one guy's opinion. You may think that's nuts, but I feel like we have to do more than what the neighbor can do. The neighbor can talk to you about what you want. They can come over and photograph your family in the backyard, and they can supply you with digital files at the end. A professional who's doing the same is not doing any service to the industry. They may be making it quicker and easier for themselves, but this beneficial to the client? You may think, well, the client asked for digital files. The client doesn't know any better. You're the one who does this day in, day out. You're the one who's supposed to be the expert. And just accepting everything that someone else wants is not showing your expertise. It's showing that you can accommodate any request. I don't see how that is professional. Now, I do think that we should accommodate requests to some degree,
Yeah.
but I do so in the context of what's the end result supposed to be. And so uh, this is done in their home, in the location where it's going to go. Now, a lot of homes already have stuff on the wall, and so they're thinking, well, I don't know where I would put this. And so I have in my mind when I'm in their home and talking to them and finding about who they are and what they're proud of in their past and what they see for themselves in the future, and just watching the relationships between them, I get an idea of where I think the right spot for this photograph is. And if there's something already there, I just make a comment saying that piece of art right there is beautiful. Do you know the artist? And the reason I say this, because if that was created by their aunt or their cousin, I want to make sure that I choose a different spot. But if that's something that they say, oh man, that's just there because it matches the room, I'm going to say, well, then that's the place where your family portrait is going to go. The reason I need to know where the family portrait's going to go is because I know then whether it's going to be a vertical or a horizontal. I know what size it's going to be. I know what surface, like it could be metal, it could be on canvas, it could be a traditional print, but I can tell based on where it's going to go all these variables. I know what frame is supposed to go on it. And if it's canvas, maybe I don't want to frame at all. But I know because I'm in the place, I'm visiting with the people who are going to be in it. It causes me to be able to suggest clothing and location that are customized to the environment of the room it's going to go in. So I can suggest colors that will match that room. Everything is done ahead of time because I know what the end result is supposed to be. So how do you like that answer?
I am blown. I mean, that's just not like a photo session plan. That's actually a strategy which is gone from the booking to the delivery to the printing to actually nailing it down and putting it on the wall. So this is not like I've never really heard anybody give that answer. So I'm really blown. I've
That's
actually,
I
you know,
like how you.
explained
I'm
it
sorry. What was that?
the way you explained it, I could actually visualize it. So I could imagine a portrait right in front of my wall. So that's definitely something.
I
Um,
like that,
yeah,
and
we actually have a
that's part
question
of the
as
deal.
well.
If
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
What was that? So I was just saying I've come across a lot of photographers that call themselves full service, and full service means you give your client no work at all. And so if someone just wants a headshot, then delivering a digital file could be considered full service. So it depends again on what the end result is supposed to be. For me, as a family portrait photographer who creates images that go on the wall, I'm printing the images, I'm framing the images, I'm installing the images. There is no work for my clients to do. That's what full service means, is you have given your clients nothing to do. Yeah, they have to get their clothing together, they have to show up, they have to look through the photographs and choose their favorites. Yeah, okay, so but that's something you can't take away from them. Full
Exactly.
service means you've taken every single thing that they could possibly do and you do it yourself, or you hire someone to do it. I sometimes hire installers to put the
Mhm.
images on the wall.
Amazing. That's awesome. We actually, like, while you were explaining all of this, we actually did get a question. I'm going to display it here
Good.
so you can have a read. Yeah.
So the journey of defining your destination is directly related with the establishment of a well-established personal branding. Yeah, um, this is Juan. I know Juan. He's a good guy. Hey Juan. So yeah, exactly. You know what your end result is in every single thing that you do. Every encounter you have with people, there's a beginning and an end result. You want to get it to something that is an ending point. Not ending meaning you don't ever want to work with them. I'm not talking about burning bridges, of course. I'm talking about things that cause those bridges to be built and become stronger. And I'm sure I'm sure everybody knows that's what I mean. So uh, your personal brand is defined by first identifying who you are and what you want to accomplish in life. What's your ideal life look like? And then your business is simply a tool to help you get what you want out of your ideal life. Yes, your business is something you're passionate about because you enjoy photography, and so that is wonderful. That's great. A whole lot better than working in some cubicle and no sunlight all day while you're working. That doesn't sound like a good thing to me at all. But if that's how your only way you can make an income, well then great. I mean, it's better to have a job than not. But we as photographers get to choose our destination. We get to choose every step along the way. We get to have a path that's as bright as we want it to be. And so, yeah, we are defining what we want as an end result. And that has everything to do with making sure that your personal branding comes off in a way that causes you to reach the goals you want in this life.
Okay, I hope he was able to answer your question. Okay, I we have one more. Just a second. I'm displaying it here.
Amato, how you doing? So I see all-inclusive sessions all over the place that only give digitals. Ah, they're not really all inclusive in my opinion. Yeah, you know what? I totally agree with that, Amato. It does depend on what the end result is supposed to be. And like I mentioned before, if it's just someone needs an image for their LinkedIn profile image, their profile page, that the end result is a digital file. Now, I would say full service would mean making that image the size that it needs to be for that image, so they don't have to do any cropping themselves.
Yeah.
So I do see it as not just giving them digital files, but giving them optimized for the purpose digital files. But you're right. I totally agree with that, Amato.
Definitely. I mean, all of this process, that's not just visualizing what kind of prompt or post that you need to give to the family or in the portraiture, but it also in what aspect ratio it needs to be, how does it need to, complement your house, your walls, all of those things. So this is a very mind-blowing answer for me, definitely. Okay, coming to, like, you have it all sorted, you have it all planned before the photography session. While actually in, like, during the photo session, what are some ways, some small gestures maybe, or surprises that you can do to make your clients feel special?
Yeah, good question. So during the session itself, um, it's kind of funny. We think we put our sales hat on when we're doing that initial presentation and when we're selling the images, but we have the sales hat on throughout the entire experience. It never goes away because your goal is to help someone else get what they want. And so throughout the session, you are doing and saying things that help you get to the end result goal that you figured out when you were doing the planning session. So of course you're going to begin when you first see them. You're going to begin with a warm smile and enthusiastic welcome. You're going to comment about how happy and excited they look, if of course they look that way. You might, if it's appropriate, comment on how good they look or how good their clothing is. You have to
Yeah.
choose. You have to, you already know who they are. You've had a chance to visit with them. You've come to like them, and they've come to like you during that planning session. So you know how to communicate with them. So when I'm saying it in general, you will know by that point. But when I'm just describing it in general, you don't know whether it's appropriate to comment on how someone looks. But you'll know after doing that planning session. But I do like to compliment them and make positive, uplifting, energizing comments right off the bat and throughout the session. So we've already gone over the things that we're going to be doing during the session, during the photography session, during the planning session. But I still, at the beginning, go over what it is we're about to do. And I am the pro here. I shouldn't expect them to remember everything that I said. And how often, there's many times when we are working with someone, and I've seen people post on Facebook all the time saying, "I told them a million times." Obviously, that's an exaggeration. I told them during the phone call beforehand, and now they're asking as if we never talked about it. It's not their thing. This is not what they're an expert at. It's not what they do every day. It's what you do every day. So therefore, yes, you have to repeat yourself every single opportunity. You have to make sure that what you're doing is solidified so that they understand the end result goal and what steps you're taking in order to get there. Because if they can picture the end result goal and the steps that you guys together have chosen on how to get to it, then everything makes sense to them, and they're very less likely to forget different things they tend to forget. So that's during that session. Now, while I'm actually creating the images, and by the way, I don't like to say take pictures because I see that as something that that the neighbor might say, and so I try to avoid the things the neighbor could say if they were to come over and do a photograph in your backyard. And so I try to use proper what I consider professional vocabulary, and so I say create instead of take. Besides, take means I wonder if it's even proper English to be able to take something that does not yet exist, because the photograph you're creating, it doesn't exist yet, and so how can you take something that doesn't exist? So there's that. That's just me. You don't have to listen to any of that stuff.
Okay.
But I create the images that we talked about during the planning session, and when I have created an image, I said, ah. this is the one we talked about going above your fireplace, or this is the one that's going to go in the entryway, or this is the one that you said grandma would want. Oh my gosh, your grandma's going to love this photograph. And so, yeah, I do that during the session. And that's, again, solidifies what we have determined is going to be the end result. And at the conclusion of the session, even though, again, we already went over what happens afterwards, I talk
Yeah.
about next steps at the end of the session, saying, this is what I'm going to do next. Here's what you need to do. And there's really nothing for them to do, except I'm
Okay.
going to be. We do the planning session or the portrait selection consultation in person. I go back to their home with a projector and I project on the wall their images, that the one that's going to go in that space are projected in that image in the size it's supposed to be, so they can actually visualize it.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. Like for me, the pro tip until now would actually be do not use the terms what your neighbor would, and and just be better than your neighbor. And I do not mean in terms of competition, but only in terms of because you're a professional and you know how to handle these things other than your clients. That's what my meaning was behind it. And talking about the small gestures during the photo session, this is so small but yet so meaningful because in family portraits specifically, there's sometimes moms trying to gather their kids, making them wear all color coordinated clothes, and just like a small comment, feedback, or just like an uplifting comment there would can really serve as a validation, although did not need it, but they sometimes feel that way. So
Absolutely.
yes, a small uplifting comment goes a long way, and you might not even realize it. And like I've
Totally
seen
agree with that.
actually that happen into place. I've seen photographers actually talk about it, that they just made a comment and their smile, just their face just lit up. So yep, that's definitely one. Okay. Okay.
Love that.
Before I'll just see if we have questions coming in. But before we take on any more questions, it's half time, so we'll be doing the Pixel Power Showdown.
The
Okay.
what? Pixel Power Showdown?
Yep.
That sounds like fun. Okay.
Okay, so I'll just let everybody know what it is about. We've been doing this in all our Pixel Power Hour episodes. Okay, so I'll just give a bit idea about what FilterPixel is, as I saw a few new people joining in. Now, at FilterPixel, we're an AI culling and editing tool. Editing is something that we just launched last month, and we'll be publicly releasing it next month. But we have the results. There are a lot of people testing it out, and we have the before and the afters of editing. Now, what I'm going to be doing with Jim is basically okay. What I'm going to be doing is basically showing Jim manually edited pictures by the same photographer whose profile is there on our FP edits, and also showing them edited by AI. So there are two similar looking pictures edited by the photographer manually, taking a few more hours, and edited by our AI, taking about 2 minutes. Okay, so everybody in our comment section as well enjoys this game. We actually have Sean here with us. He just joined, and he's saying came in at the right time. He's the one who guesses it right every time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. And one more small twist here. We'll be. This is like a game. So in case Jim loses, he actually has to do a dare. So let's
Uh-oh.
see. Let's see if the point goes to Filter Pixel Edits or does it go to Jim. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I'm gonna do this. Yep, there you go. Everybody in the
Hmm.
comment section as well can just keep on letting me know right or left which one is edited by AI.
No way.
This is fun. It's so much fun to actually see everybody's reaction.
I don't have a clue. There I
They seem identical, but they're not.
Oh man.
I love your reaction. I'm so happy right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Um that tells a lot about your the product. I mean, if I can't if I'm able to if I have something on my Photoshop or on my screen, I would zoom way in on it, which might be
Yeah,
considered cheating in
definitely.
this particular game. But
I
I
can
can't
I can
tell.
try doing that for you if you'd like. just a bit. Just for one photo, I can give you like a bit of an
Okay, I'm
advantage.
I, I'm going to be a contrarian to Sean and say the right.
Okay, okay. Sean said left. Amada said right. Okay, audience is already confused. What's your vote?
I'm leaning. I'm going to say right.
Right? Okay, right is AI, right? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying right is AI. Yeah, I can't
Done.
tell. I'm just being contrarian to Sean.
Okay, okay. So we're checking, and right is AI indeed.
Well, I just got lucky because I cannot tell.
Amazing. Okay, that's nice. 1 point to you. Ayush actually in the comments can maintain score. Okay, and here's the next one. This is like the one news picture.
No way. Man, your product is good.
You need to try it out.
Wow. I reacted to Sean.
I saw that. Sean, you need to
Oh
try it out
man,
as well.
I know. I'm gonna say right again, but I have no. I don't know.
No worries.
I see no tells.
Let's see. You might get lucky again, so don't worry. Okay, right again. And that's wrong. The
Wow.
left one's edited by AI. Let's see who. Oh, Amaro got it right. That's great.
Yay, Amato.
Amazing. Okay, we're gonna check out the third
Sean
one.
got it. Yay.
Amazing. Okay, I can zoom in a bit if you'd like me to here.
No idea.
Okay,
Man,
just say anything. I'm loving how your response has been.
I.
Because we've had
Okay.
people that have confidently said, writes the AI, and then they might have been proven wrong a lot of times, but you straight up like no idea.
I'm gonna go left.
Okay, you're gonna go left as AI? Got it.
I'm continuing to be contrarian to Sean.
Okay, we checking. And left is AI. Oh my, he knows it, okay? He knows something. So it's 2-1. You've got 2 points. And here's our last one. I think, yeah, it's like a wedding party shot.
Left. And again, I don't know. I don't see a strong enough tell.
Absolutely okay. Okay, left. Ah, right one's the AI. It's fine. It's
Wow.
2-all.
That's fantastic.
It's
I love
actually
this.
the first time it's a draw. So that's really good because let me tell you, all first three episodes, FP Edits is the winner. So this is has been great
Ah.
so far. Okay, amazing. Thank you everybody for participating. Sean and Amaro, I feel guessed too many, right? So that's amazing. You guys need to try out as well so you know better from the next live.
Yes. Yeah, this is Pixel 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 Filter Pixel Edits is fantastic. As far as what I'm looking at right now, dang, I'm very impressed.
Amazing. Me too. Like the first live, in fact, when I was putting it all together, I set out this presentation. I was so
Yeah.
impressed and so proud of the team. It's like I can't identify. Just send me three different folders of original, edited by AI, edited manually. That's what we had to actually rename and put it together. So that's something.
Huh.
Somebody has a question. 1 second. So this is making the image right from scratch. Oh no, it's actually an image captured by a photographer in our team itself. And in this case, left one was edited by them and right one was edited by our AI. So both of these are the results of the editing. One is just edited by the photographer and one is edited by FilterPixel Edits, our software. I hope that answers the question. And now we are back to our topic. Amazing. Thank you so much for participating. Unfortunately, for us, there's no dare for you. Okay. So now we were talking about before the photo session and during the photography session, and I also have few minor questions, related to this. Uh, let's say that there is no photography session scheduled as of now, but there's one upcoming next month, and I'm all done with my preparation as such. But what can I do as a photographer who is very active on social media? What can I do on my social media channels to actually help with this purpose, help with this goal of making the clients feel special?
So just to make sure I'm answering the question that you're intending, uh, we're talking about what a photographer can do on social media to make their clients feel good.
Yep, yep, exactly.
Okay. So I'm going to share two different ideas that you might choose to do on social media. Um, um, you've seen this before. This isn't something new, but this is something that I think that potentially you could incorporate. I like incorporating it, but I like to support my friends who do things. They have side gigs or they have full-time jobs that maybe they have their own small business, but you're probably not aware that your friends are doing certain things on the side. They're crafting, they're building, they're woodworking. They maybe are photographers on the side. Maybe they create websites. They maybe they own their own business. Maybe they're artists. Maybe they're making things, but you don't know. So if you ask, they're going to tell you. And so what I suggest is posting on your own social media pages, your business page or your personal page too, but you're specifically asking your friends and followers to raise their hands and share their businesses, their talent, their artwork, whatever it is that they want to share on that end, and then engage, of course, with their posts, share their content, write reviews for them. Go on Google and write a review. Even if you haven't bought their service or product, you know who they are, so you can comment on their character, that they are a good person, that they would be good to work with. So things that doing things that help lift them. And I also, uh, with the same one, I think you should keep a list of all those who have effectively raised their hand saying, "I do this." Keep a list of everyone who responds with their business information, the whatever type of work that they do, their contact information. That way, you can reach out to them when in conversation with someone else. They're saying, "I'm looking for," and you're like, "Oh, I know someone. I made a post on Facebook that last week, and someone said they did that. I'm gonna connect you guys." And so uh, uh, when you do that, of course, you're uplifting the people who are on your list, and they appreciate that, and it makes you feel good to do it. So maybe you want to collaborate on a joint project with someone who you didn't even know did what it is that they do, and this will help expand their network and their visibility. So there's something you can do on that business side. Then the second thing is, I think we should celebrate every success. In fact, go so far as to seek them out with your clients. On I'm the administrator for a photography page, the San Antonio Photography Group, and one of the things that I do every week is recommend or have a post that says, can you uplift someone? Can you share what someone has done to help you out, or maybe someone who you'd like to meet? And so and there's one that I do. Uh, I do about 4 or 5 different ones each week, so it's not always the same thing, but it's along those lines where you have an opportunity to uplift or tell a story about something. So that's something that I do on that page, on that in that group. But as an individual on my own page, on my own business page or individual page, I am seeking out the things that my friends or followers are proud of, both big and small. Things such as milestones, awards that they've received, maybe even just positive feedback that they've received, and I want to recognize them for it. With a special media post, a social media post that's congratulating them on those accomplishments, those things that they're feeling proud about. So I would, as a business, set up a system to track your clients' achievements. So not only doing this, here and there once in a while, but write down, make a list or add it to your CRM, your I call it client relationship management. It's called customer relationship management programs, but I call it client because I think of the photographer's clients, not customer. The people the photographer works with as a client, not a customer. But anyway, set and I we can set up automations on emails or social media posts that mention them and their achievements and expressing your pride in their achievements. You could even do a weekly or a monthly newsletter that includes these things that you're celebrating in the group of people that you work with. So there's
Okay.
two.
Got it, got it. So the more I hear, I am actually trying to understand that this is not just like, an individual conversation that you're having with your client. It's actually you're building a community out of it, connecting all of them and actually trying to uplift them or basically uplift their business as well in some or the other way possible. So I know, like, this is not something that can be done in a day's time or in a month's time, definitely. So did you, while starting out, while building such community, did you face any such troubles or issues? Like, it can be difficult for people to just see a random post and comment on it, right? Because it's a new group, they don't just jump in and start commenting, and they don't know who is actually posting that. So did you actually face any troubles while you were starting in building such community? And I know you've built a lot of communities so far, and it's not just the clients but also the photographers coaching group as well. So yeah, that would be the question.
Yeah, that's interesting. If someone, let's say that someone's brand new, they're starting tomorrow. They're doing their planning today. They're starting tomorrow. They're gonna do some social media posts. They're gonna because that's something that anyone can do, even if
True.
you're starting out tomorrow. And so, what would I do in that instance? Well, if you're totally starting out new, I mean everything new, meaning you don't even have a social media account of any sort, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you have none of that, then you won't be able to do these things that I'm describing just yet, because you do have to build some kind of community. And so I would say, Facebook is probably the easiest one to start to find your friends, but Instagram is another good one. I do hear positive and negatives on every one of the social media, and don't allow those negatives to affect you very much when you hear them, because they're all good. All the social media is good. It's how we use it that determines whether it's good or bad. It's same thing as if you were a carpenter. Is there a single carpenter that says I will never use a hammer because it can go through a sheetrock wall? Of course not. That doesn't mean that the hammer is the problem. It's how you used the hammer that caused the problem. Same thing with using a flash. I hear people say, "Well, I'm a natural light photographer, and because flash doesn't look natural." Well, I understand being a natural light photographer, and that's fine. But if your reason is because flash doesn't look natural, it's because you put the hammer through the wall. You used the flash wrong. You didn't use it correctly. That's not how it's supposed to be used. If it's making things look unnatural, you have used the tool incorrectly. So don't blame the tool. Blame yourself for not learning how to use it. So yeah, at the very first, I'm thinking that maybe a simple one. Let's do one thing. Let's say Facebook. Go into if you're starting brand new today, you've never had a Facebook account, go onto Facebook, find friends. Now, when you're first starting out, finding friends doesn't that sounds like what? What do you mean? Well, chances are 80% of your friends are already on Facebook, because it's a popular social media tool. And
Definitely.
so finding them is relatively easy just by looking in search. And you can search the high school that you went to. You can search the college that you went to. You can search anything where you have accumulated friends. In addition to going directly to the individual. Now, chances are, if you have a friend named Joe Smith, you're going to find about 11,000 of them. And so, yeah, that will be hard to find them. So you'll need to be a little more specific. But if you have a name that is very rare that you wouldn't see very often, well, that would narrow it down a little bit. But if you're starting from a little bit more than that, let's say you have 200 people on your friends list already, I would start engaging with them. But I might start by just individually talking to individual friends, saying, "What do you do?" Especially those who have small businesses. What do you do? How are you reaching out? And maybe there's some of the same groups that they're in that they find valuable, that you can join and start growing that. And so the things that I'm suggesting are the two that I mentioned are something that you do once you've already been there for a little while, once you've already been on social media for a little while.
Got it. Okay. Okay. No, no, that actually answers it. That's actually like the first step that you can take with a goal in your mind, which is to build a community or whatever. The goal might differ for everybody. So, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the next question would be, so I hear a lot of photographers talking about, like, creating experiences, which is our topic for today. But we talked about small gestures, we talked about how to plan the session, but there are any, VIP experiences that we can actually plan for a client to make them feel exclusive? Like a lot of photographers actually might need it who are in the luxury segment as well. So are there any suggestions for that one?
It's a good question. So there are things that you can include in the offerings, the product and services that you offer. There's things that you can do kind of behind the scenes as far as some of the work of it, but it shows where everyone sees it, so therefore not behind the scenes. But let me give you two. When I was photographing weddings, and I haven't photographed a wedding in quite a few years,
Okay.
but I photographed about 300 of them between the very first one I did was in 1983. That was
Oh,
the very first job I ever got paid for. But that was the summer before my freshman year in high school. So I started early.
that's
Um,
amazing. Nice. Okay.
but during my uh, career that included wedding photography, I photographed over 300 weddings, and I learned a lot of things over the years, just like we all do. But one is on the pricing and packaging side. I went from having I think 5 different packages, no, probably 10 different packages to 5 different packages to one package, just one. And it was that was in 2013, uh, the last year that I was still looking, still marketing for um, uh, weddings. Uh, it may have been before that when I changed the price, but still, that was the last year I stopped looking. But I changed it. Oh yeah, no, it was. It's 2013. I changed it to one price, one package price. It was $12,000. So a decade ago, $12,000. By the way, I come across photographers who are in their mind they're struggling with $1,200. If you're charging $1,200 for a wedding in most locations, and it depends. There's a lot of variables when it comes to price, and I'd love talking about price, but that's not what we're talking about now. $1,200 is going to put you out of business. You're going to go out of business. I can almost guarantee it. But my price was $12,000 for a wedding. But I did something that was kind of interesting. Uh, I gave them line item veto. They could cross out what they didn't want. That means they're in control of their price. So while they got a $12,000 photographer, not a single one of them paid $12,000 because they crossed off the things they didn't want and they came up with their own price. Now, some of the things they crossed off are things that are pretty darn cool. I call it the power of the wow, which I might talk about more later. But the one of the things that was included, which was pretty cool, was a dinner for 15 at a local country club and with an expensive meal. And they would be able to see their images, a premiere show of their photographs from the wedding for the very first time. So, as soon as they get back from their honeymoon, we have this is already planned. We know this ahead of time, of course. We would have that at the event. But that one was the most crossed off one. That alone was $2,500, and so that one was crossed off. But I still got the power of it. So there's one cool thing to make them look to feel like a VIP, because even if they don't get it, they still feel it. Now, here's one more.
Yeah.
I recommend that you create a client appreciation program, something that you are purposefully doing, that you are you know what the end result is, and so you're planning that path to get there. But this is to recognize your favorite clients. So you can invite maybe an example. You can invite a small number of them to participate in a special project that maybe you've come up with, or an exclusive event where you're hosting just a few of them, or invite them or their families maybe to go to some sporting event that you know that they love. Maybe you could create an exclusive photography event where you're only using working with 4 of them to go to some cool location that you found. You can't open this up to everyone. It's just exclusive to your favorite clients. Or maybe you offer exclusive access to limited edition products. Maybe you're creating something and only they are able to get it, or maybe just early release for those things, or something else that's special for your loyal clients. Or maybe um, uh, you might consider exclusive events where only a small, maybe segmented group goes with you. Maybe you do like a lunch landers like I do, or maybe you invite your top 5 clients to dinner and their families once a year, just to say to say thank you. So some of these things are going to cost you some money. Some of them will actually cause you to earn
Yeah.
money. But the bottom line goal is, what are we doing to make our clients feel exclusive and valued and give them that VIP experience? And I feel there's a couple of things that you might want to consider.
Okay, okay. This is so interesting to know. This is something which is so unique and so new, especially the 12,000, 12,000 package, which you're supposed to cut out. Because there's actually, this thing in marketing that people feel too overwhelmed when they're actually adding things to their package, because then they're counting the amount, like, oh, $100 would cost this, 150, 200. But while they're cutting it out, it's just a relieving moment that even if they cancel out five things, which might not cost them a lot, you're still earning out of it because they just canceled out five things and relieved themselves of it while not really
Well,
gaining a balance in the package.
you're right, and that's it, the on that wedding package. The reason in 2013 why I had increased it to just one package and $12,000 is because it wasn't that I didn't want to do weddings anymore, but if I was going to be paid enough, I certainly would. But the reason is because I found myself with not enough time, and weddings were very time consuming.
Yeah,
And the reason I didn't have enough time is because I was spending more and more of my time teaching. I've been teaching since '97. I've been teaching the business side since 2008. And within 2008 to 2013, I was pretty busy on the business side, teaching other photographers, and so I needed to reduce the things I was doing, and because weddings were so time consuming, that's why I chose to do that. And I raised that price to 12,000. I included a bunch of cool things. I gave you one example that was in it, but there was a bunch of other wow items in there. But the price was 12,000. They can line item veto. They can take out what they don't want. But what I found was my average sale doubled overnight as a result of that choice. I didn't know that that was going to happen. It wasn't my strategy when I began. My strategy was get fewer weddings. That was my strategy. That was my goal. That was my end result is I need to spend more time teaching. I love this stuff. And so what happened was I did get fewer weddings, which was my goal. But I
okay.
got a lot more than I thought. In fact, I thought I wouldn't get any. At 12, when someone saw that $12,000 price, what I assumed was hanging up the phone or clicking on to the next photographer. I didn't assume they would actually start looking at it. And so, yeah, I wound up, even though I probably got probably half the number of probably a lot less than half the number of inquiries. But everyone who did inquire bought, all of them, 100%. And those who uh, and my income doubled overnight as a result. And they were much happier people, by the way, because they were in control. They controlled what they were spending, and so they were happy with it, even though it was double what I was getting before. So there's a lot of little cool things that you can do when you have an end result in mind.
Okay. All these tips are like so good that when you say that you're an educator, it actually makes sense because it feels like you were rightly meant for it. All these ideas, all these tips, all
Thank
the
you.
things that you're actually executing, is this something that, a lot more people need to know and actually utilize in their business? There's actually so much more that we can learn from you that I feel like we need to organize a part two of this one because what we need to do is go
I
back
would
to
do that.
and learn all your tips and tricks, because how are you actually pricing those packages is the thing, and what were you putting it inside? That's what we need to know. Like, I am so curious to know. Okay, we actually have a question by Sean.
Sean, I'm curious how you positioned it.
He actually has like a
Okay, yeah. So that's right. So I feel like they would hang up on me if I said my pricing was $12,000. So my initial goal was that's what would happen, um, and that's interesting because they those who did reach out, uh, I suppose, were more serious by that point. Um, the No, because I didn't ever pulse that price online. So they would be just the same people who would be calling before because I didn't try to redo my marketing or anything. So it would be the same people that called before. And so I'll tell you what approximately what I would say then. This again was 10 years ago. So if I get it wrong, then give me a little leeway. But so they would call and say, all right, how much is a wedding? And anytime someone calls, they're asking either the bottom line really is how much is and they're also asking, are you available on? Because if you're, as a wedding photographer, not available on their date, then how much is an irrelevant question.
exactly.
But how much is a wedding photographer, or how much are you? How much do you charge? And I would say, think I would show appreciation for them calling. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it. I charge $12,000 for my weddings, but I give you line item veto, and I would say those words. And what that means is, unlike other photographers, you are in total control of what you get. What I do is I effectively have everything that I offer on this list, and that list of everything costs $12,000. But when was the last time you went to a grocery store and bought everything on the list? You don't go into the grocery store and say, all right, I'll take one of everything. No one ever does that. I am giving you that control to choose the things that you want. And so I give you the list. You mull over it. You spend some time with it. You cross off the things you want. You add up what's left, and there's your price. And if you don't like that price, cross off something else, and there's your price. Giving them control means I don't have to do the salesy stuff that we as creatives are we don't care for very much. So I allowed them to have total control in the pricing. Now that was for weddings. I didn't do the same thing with my family portraits.
Makes
That was what
sense.
I did
Makes
for
sense.
weddings.
Okay.
Thanks, Ayush.
Perfect. Perfect. This has been this has been a great session. So, do you have any closing things, tips, tricks, anything that you need people to follow, anything? And if anybody in the comments has any questions, just go ahead and ask them. Yep.
I do have some things I want to share. So this is a closing statement, right?
Yep. And I'm
Okay.
also
So
sharing your link. Actually, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm just putting down here the link for Portrait Profits. Jim hosts a live every week here on Monday noon Central Time, right, Jim? Yep.
yes.
Okay.
So
And then
yeah,
also,
every Monday at noon, and it's live on Facebook. So wherever you are in the world, you could tune in.
perfect. I'm just putting it here because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to learn more from you after this session and know all your ideas and what goes in your mind in short. Yeah, I posted the link. Perfect. You can
Awesome.
go ahead.
All right. So the goal here is what I'm trying to share with this message is that I want you and you want you to make your clients feel great because that causes them to want to be around you. And so making your clients feel like a rock star is all about creating a positive and memorable experience that exceeds their expectations and is building trust and loyalty. As I say to my coaching clients, a steady flow of little wows brings your or makes your clients loyal for life. And little wows are just little things. They may not choose them, like that dinner for 15 at a local country club. That causes them to say, "Wow, that's really cool." The price being $12,000. Now, in 2013, there was only one photographer in my area that had a price higher than mine, and so most of them wouldn't have ever come across that person because that person's real exclusive, and so you wouldn't know unless you were seeking them out specifically. And so my price appeared to be the highest price 10 years ago. And so they're saying that I get the $12,000 photographer. I'm getting Landers Photography, and that made them have something to be to share and be proud of, to brag about, really. And so there's a bunch of little wows that are included in that. And just because they're not necessarily getting all the wows, but they're getting the power of that wow. And so I'm including a lot of wows in it. I want to do the wows, but if they don't want to do it, that's fine.
Hmm.
That's perfectly fine. So a steady flow of little wows makes your clients loyal for life. It's about creating moments that have lasting impact and embracing the joy of making them, your clients, shine. When you carry this level of passion and this level of commitment forward, and you're infusing every interaction with an authentic, caring spirit, people notice. They want this. So they're seeking you out. So let your enthusiasm for serving your clients just radiate. You already have this enthusiasm for serving your clients. This already exists. So allow it to radiate beyond you through every interaction, every phone call, every email, every social media post. Take advantage to take that opportunity to uplift and celebrate their victories, big and small. Together we as photographers, we create a world where every client is going to be able to feel cherished, supported, valued. We're cultivating connections rooted in empathy and understanding. By doing this, we not only foster our own success, but we are also contributing to a culture of care and compassion that's uplifting our entire industry and beyond. And so, photographers, we are fantastic, caring people who truly want to do a great job for our clients. So, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you, photographers,
Hmm.
for caring enough to provide extraordinary client experiences. I hope your journey is filled with joy, fulfillment for you and your family, and endless opportunities to make your clients feel like the true rock stars they are to you.
Okay,
Hope you
amazing.
enjoyed this.
Big, big thank you, Jim, for actually being here and for those uplifting comments as well. I know everybody from this session is going to be motivated and just go and be like, now what can I do in my social media? What can I do on my website?
Yay.
Because that's the first thing when we step out of a session and I think of almost all the time. So I hope everybody who joined in got pretty much ideas because I definitely did. Even I'm brainstorming a few ideas in my head. So thank you so much again for joining in, and
Good.
thank you everybody in the audience who joined in. We'll wrap up the session for now.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you for being here, and thank you, Shivangi. You're really good at this. It's very comfortable talking with you. You're asking, the questions you ask make a lot of sense, and I think that in the way you're asking them even more so. And I think that those who are watching are getting. Going to be able to get some stuff out of this because we're working together and we're doing a great job together.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm glad. And Sean's actually going to go and put his weddings at 12K.
Nice, good job, Sean.
Okay, amazing.
Appreciate that.
Yep. Okay, bye bye, everybody. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you once again, everybody, for joining in. This was our third episode of Pixel Power Hour. We'll be doing this every week in the FilterPixel community on the FilterPixel page. So keep on joining us and keep on joining the new industry experts that we have. Thank you so much.
Head over to filterpixel.com where you can sign up and get started now.